Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Make Pokemon in Unity, and today we're going to be going for just a really quick episode. It'll be focusing mainly on the UI and how we're going to be handling when we do get to the adding in AI elements and NPCs, the chat window that appears at the bottom or the menus on the side. Now, whilst we're not adding in the menus just yet, we're just preparing the UI for when we do later on in an episode. It's just a really short episode that I thought would be necessary so it could be ready for when it comes. So if you just head over to the GitHub page, there's a link in the description. You can get any other project assets through the GitHub page or the scripts if you do not know what's going on. So if you just go to the assets folder and then you go to UI, you can just click on the background UI PNG and then you can just download it by clicking open this file on GitHub desktop, or you can download the entire project as a zip. Alright, so just now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Unity. You want to click on the background images that you have downloaded. I put it into a folder called UI. So that background image, we want to set its pixels per unit to 64. You want to set its its filter mode to point, and then its format to true color. Again, just so we're preserving the quality. And so that when we do put it into the UI, I'll just give you a quick example of what happens. If we just go up to game object UI and then panel, for example. Right now, when you put the panel, the background images as the background of the panel, you'll see the borders get stretched and it just doesn't look how it's meant to look. So the way that we can fix that is by when we go to our background image, we go to our sprite editor and then, change its sprite mode to multiple, click apply. In sprite editor, you want to click slice. You can leave everything on automatic and then you just click slice. And then for our border, this is so that we can disable the stretching that we just saw. We set our border to be 4 pixels everywhere. So that way it just preserves the corners and the border of the background image so that it doesn't stretch. You can then click apply on your sprite editor and you'll see that it stays the way that it should. So if I just set its background to be a non-alpha one, and then I can resize it down to 6. Sorry, now what you had to do is you just had to redrag this onto the image just to give it a reset. You'll see that it doesn't modify what the borders look like now, and it stays the way that it should. And so that's just a really quick way on how we're going to get the UI set up with the background. So for now you can just remove the canvas and the event system, but that's how we're going to set up the background for that. As this video has been really short, I decided that we'll just go ahead and start the base Pokemon class that we can add for when we start making our Pokemon. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a folder, and we'll just call this Pokemon for now. And inside we're going to type create a new script, and it will be called for now we'll say just base Pokemon. And so the reason why we're doing it base is so that maybe later on we can come and extend it in a future class. So while I wait for that to open, I'll just pause the video. Alright, so I'm just going to get rid of a few of these things so we don't need them at the start. So we're going to start with saying a public string for the Pokemon's name. I'll just zoom in for you guys just so you can read. So we have a string for its name, so this is so you can give the Pokemon a name. We'll give it an image, so we need to import Unity engine.ui, I believe. This will just give us access to the image and sprite classes. Rather than image, what I'll do is I'll set it as a sprite, so we'll say public sprite, and then we'll say Pokemon image, or even just image, just to keep it nice and short. Okay, so under the class we're going to want to create another enum, so it'll just be a public enum rarity, and this is just what the rarity of the Pokemon will be. So for this we're going to go very common, common, semi-rare, rare, and then very rare. So this is just how likely you're going to be to encounter the Pokemon when you're walking along in the long grass over here, or wherever we're going to put it on the map. The next thing we're going to want to do is we'll go back to the scripts folder and create a new folder for map. We won't be coding too much this quickly. What we'll do is just add the enum, because I don't like separating the code where it's not meant to go. So for this, we're just going to say regions, and then in the regions, what we're going to do is add a public enum under it, and we can just say region, or region list. And in that region list, we're just going to say, for now, palette town, for example. Yeah. So in the base Pokemon class, we'll add a reference to that. So we'll say public region list, and then region found in. Sorry, rather than region, what we'll do is we'll say biome list. This just might be easier. That way we can have them appear in just more than one spot. And then when we extend the Pokemon, we can just change it up so that it can only be found in certain towns if that's what you guys want. So we'll just say biome found. So that's just like snow, grass, and everything like that. Down here, we're going to add another enum for Pokemon type. So this is like grass or water, for example. So for this, I'm not gonna get around to be implementing all of the different Pokemon types that are in the real Pokemon game. So for now, we'll just add in the basics ones. So we'll go flying, ground, rock, steel, fire, water, grass. There are a lot here. Grass, ice, Electra, we'll go psychic, dark, and then dragon. That should just be enough for you guys for a base. There are a lot more that we could add in, but that should be enough for now. So at the top, what we'll do is we will add a public Pokemon type and then we'll add a public float for its base HP, so that's like when it's at level 1. A private float for its max health, and this is just for when we're regenerating the health of the Pokemon. We'll have a base attack, so we'll add a public float base attack, and then we'll have another private for that one, being a private float max attack. And actually, we'll make that one public, so that's so we can get a random value between those two. Later on, we'll create a little script so that we can make these things easier. And we'll do the same thing for defense, so public float based defense, and then public float max defense. And then finally, we'll just add in a public float for speed. Following this, we're going to need in an array for attacks. However, we'll come back to that a little bit later on. Now we're also going to need private. Private float level. So this just sets up our basic Pokemon class, which we can add to our Pokemon when we do add them in. However, that has been today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. As always, if you have any suggestions or improvements, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll have a look when I get a chance. And if you do need any help at all, you can message me through my Twitter at bstormgames, or you can message in the comments. And then if you are struggling to keep up, we also have the GitHub page that you can access. I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time.